Hey everyone, welcome back. David, History for the Ages. We're going to jump right into this quiz. How much do you know about ancient Rome? Remember to like, leave comments, subscribe, all that good stuff. And let's get right to it, to question number 1. All right, if you don't know this one, we're going to start really easy. Maybe you just need to hit stop and start watching my lectures on ancient Rome first, right? The city of Rome is in what modern nation? And of course, the answer to that is going to be Italy. So again, I do have an entire set of playlists on ancient Rome, one on ancient Roman Republic, one on the Roman Empire. Definitely worth checking out to learn a lot more about all this, depending on how you do on these 15 questions. I'm going to start them easy, and then we're going to get a little bit harder. So that's question number 1. All right, and question number 2. Who was the first Roman emperor? A man named Romulus, Augustus, or C. Caligula? And the answer is Augustus. He was the first emperor, and that's actually a sculpture of him as well. All right, question number 3. What is the name of the river that runs through the city of Rome? Tiber, Arno, or Rubicon? And so the answer to that is the Tiber River. The Arno River runs through Florence. The Rubicon is another river in Italy. We'll have a little video on the phrase, once you've crossed the Rubicon, what that means. If you get a chance, you can also find that. It's a little 2-minute short I have. What does it mean when you say you've crossed the Rubicon? Another little bit of Roman history there. Fun stuff. All right, question 4. All right, hopefully this is one you all know. Who was assassinated on the Ides of March? Beware the Ides of March from the Shakespeare play, and probably most of you know if you look at the choices here: A. Caligula, B. Caesar, C. Nero, or D. Hadrian. The answer is C. Caesar, of course. Beware the Ides of March, right? And that's at the period of time when the Roman Republic is collapsing, and then eventually you get the rise of the Roman Empire, as I mentioned in that previous question. So again, you can learn all about this stuff in my playlist, and I will. What I'm going to do is in the description here, I'm going to include the links to the playlist on ancient Rome and some other fun stuff here you can learn from. All right, here we go. Question 5. The Punic Wars were fought between Rome and, is it Britain, Numidia, Carthage, or Persia? And the answer to that is Carthage. And if you're not aware, Carthage is North Africa. The 3 Punic Wars, obviously big topics I cover in the Roman Republic series. I cover really cool stories about them, and it's one of the pivotal moments in the history of early Rome, right? The Punic Wars. All right, so against Carthage. All right, question 6. All right, so now we'll make them a little bit more difficult. Hopefully those first 5 questions should have all been pretty easy. Question 6. It was during the Second Punic War that Rome defeated which famous general of Carthage? And this is an image of him here as well. And so the answer to that is Hannibal. And so you got Hannibal, who of course leads the Carthaginians. At one point, give the Romans some pretty good scares. And again, you can watch my video on the Second Punic War. If you don't want to watch the entire history of my Roman playlist, and you just want certain things like, I'd like to learn about the Punic Wars, I have one on the First Punic War, one on the Second Punic War, just Third Punic War, and so forth. All right, question 7. Who was the emperor of Rome who created the Tetrarchy? So again, these are a little harder now. Hadrian, Claudius, Nero, or Diocletian? And the answer to that is D, Diocletian. The Tetrarchy was when you ended up with 4 rulers, or actually you had 4 rulers. They took Rome, kind of split up in 2 parts, and you had 2 rulers in the east, 2 rulers in the west. Tetrarchy means rule of 4, and it was an attempt to deal with some of the problems that were part of the crisis of the 3rd century in Rome. All right, so that's question 7. Question 8. This Roman emperor created the Edict of Milan. All right, Constantine, Nerva, Trajan, or Commodus? And this is Constantine. And in terms of, you might be wondering, what is the Edict of Milan? Maybe you guessed right. But the Edict of Milan is what gave religious toleration to Christians in the Roman Empire. Pretty pivotal moment in Roman history, of course. All right. Oh, one of my favorite things I've seen here. This Roman emperor built a wall in what is today northern England, southern Scotland. Hadrian, Claudius, Diocletian again, or Nero? And the answer to that one is A, Hadrian's Wall. I have another 5-minute video on Hadrian's Wall you could watch as well. It's not in the Roman history playlist, but it's definitely something you can kind of just watch, my little 5-minute on Hadrian Wall. So all these things you can find on my channel if you want to learn a bit more. Really cool. I went there. Really cool things to go and visit, and you can learn a lot more about it in that video. All right, question 10. Who was the mother of Nero? Right, so Nero, very famous emperor. Most people have heard of him, but who's his mom? Messalina, Octavia, or Agrippina? Sometimes I've heard her name pronounced Agrippina. And the answer to that is C, actually, Agrippina or Agrippina. And I actually have a video, everything you need to know about Nero, in 10 minutes as well. So that's another one you can look up if you want to learn. Oh man, she actually was a pretty significant figure, and there was some crazy stuff going on between him and his mom, Nero and his mom, and eventually, well, spoiler alert, he ends up killing her, or having her killed, I should say, not personally killing her, but having her killed. All right, anyway, so that's question 10. All right, 11. Which Germanic tribe conquered the northern area of Gaul that was once part of the Roman Empire? Was it Franks, Lombards, Saxons, or Visigoths? So when the Roman Empire begins to fall apart, you have all these various Germanic tribes coming in, and they take over different parts of Rome. Now, I'm hoping you know what the area of Gaul is. If you don't, again, this might be a little harder question, but it's basically in what is modern-day France. And the answer to that is A, the Franks. So the Franks conquered that region. Each of these tribes conquered different parts of what was the Western Roman Empire. And so, that's what eventually what happens to Rome. All right, question 12. Which Roman emperor began the construction of the Colosseum? Vespasian, Titus, or Domitian? And the answer to that is A, Vespasian. It was actually, he died before it was completed, but he was the one who began to build it. Sometimes we call it the Flavian Amphitheater for the family dynasty that he was part of. But pretty cool place to go and visit, of course, if you ever go to Italy and Rome. All right, question 13. All right, this is a fun one. The Romans used the Colosseum to hold mock naval battles. Is that true or false? Believe it or not, that's actually true. They actually had naval battles in the Colosseum. I actually have another video I made, like everything you need to know about the Colosseum in 10 minutes, how it was built and details about it, and including explaining these whole mock naval battles. So that's yet another video if you want to learn more. You could go ahead and watch as well on my channel. All right, question 14. What was the name of the city that Rome was founded on? So no multiple choice on this one, just kind of see either you know it or you don't. And the answer is Palatine Hill, right? So Palatine Hill, that's the traditional place where the city of Rome was founded. So I've got one more question, then I got a little bonus round too. So wait for the bonus round here. All right, question 15. If you know this one, I'm going to be really impressed. Which Roman historian wrote the Germania? And the answer to that is Tacitus, the Roman historian Tacitus. I love reading his primary sources. I read a lot of various primary sources. Tacitus, Livy, Cassius Dio. Suetonius is a lot of fun, but he's a little bit out there. But Tacitus is always a good source. All right, so hopefully you got a lot of those right, but if you did well on those, that's great. But let's see how you do on this bonus round real quick. If you want my last slide here. All right, so what do we call the elite guards who protected the Roman emperors? We'll do this quickly. The Praetorian Guards. This Roman sacked the city of Jerusalem in 70 AD. That was Titus. Who was the son of Marcus Aurelius? And the answer to that is Commodus. If you've seen the movie Gladiator, I have a video on that too. How accurate is the movie Gladiator? And who was the Roman emperor who wanted to name his horse as a senator or a council member? Yes, this was the crazy Roman emperor named Caligula. All right, so there's a ton more. I could ask 100 questions, but hopefully you did well on that. And you found that fun. And please go watch my other lectures. Try my other quizzes. I have several other quizzes on various times in history and see how you do on those. All right, please remember, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Everyone leave some comments. See how you did. All right, everyone, have a great day.